What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another spoiler review here at Big Gold Bell Media. Cam and my man Mike is here. We're here to talk about Prime's fourth season of The Boys that is coming on Thursday, June 13th. We were lucky enough to see the first 3 episodes of this season, and man, there is a lot to unpack right now. It's honestly more than I thought we were actually going to get. I think I'm used to only getting about 2 episodes, Mike. I don't know how you feel about it, but did you feel like it was overwhelming just how many episodes you got to see right here and right now?
Yeah, I think just because the amount of content that was in each single episode was more like I need time to process this. But yeah, this was a lot. Definitely.
Yeah, it was definitely a lot. But I'm actually excited about seeing where this season's gonna go. I feel like this might be the end, I think, right? I'm not sure if they're doing a 5th season after this.
No, so it's been confirmed by the showrunner that the 5th season will be his last.
Okay.
Right before, so
yeah, and I feel
yeah,
there's got to be some type of ending to it, because right now, I mean, we're almost coming full circle in the first couple episodes that we've seen. So I definitely couldn't tell whether this is going to be it or not. But I mean, thank you for giving me that information that the 5th season will be coming out, and we will be getting to see hopefully more Homelander in this season. So yeah, season 4 kind of picks right back up where we left off. They did a great job, honestly, of the first episode, giving us it was a very, very fast recap of the first or the last season number 3. But it was a really good recap, because I feel like I saw the whole season by just watching that little tiny recap. Like, all the real pushed points in there were really highlighted. So if you didn't see season 3 before this, they definitely do a good job of filling you guys in at home. You really won't feel left out.
Also, Gen V, the spinoff show that happened between this, which directly leads into this season, definitely, like, there's some things that they addressed that are like continuing threads that come from that show, how that show ended to where it is right now. So yeah, if you haven't seen Gen V, whatever, you'd be fine.
Yeah, for sure. And I think the one thing I think that this show really highlighted the most is that there is no shortage of product promotion when it comes to VOD. If you look at an outline of these 3 episodes, I think we can rattle off how many things that we've seen in here. I think we saw VOD Garden Inn. I think that was like a staple to like the Hilton Garden Inn hotel. And then we got to also see a VOD video game.
VODicon.
There's a VODicon. I think there was what was the other one? It was a bioptic, matter of fact, of A-Train we got to see in here as well.
Yeah, like some of those Hallmark or
like Hallmark. Come back with me to the suburbs is what I remember in there, which I thought was a crazy line. And to be able to see, this is a spoiler review as well, everybody at home. You got to see Will Ferrell in this. Definitely not a person I thought. Will Ferrell was in this season, in the 2nd episode, and I'm really surprised because that's the last person I thought was gonna be getting out of that Mercedes-Benz.
Yes, I was like Tom Hanks, maybe Kevin Costner.
Maybe they did. I think they referenced Tom Hanks in this episode. Matter of fact, too, when they were like spreading the propaganda.
Yeah.
Him and Oprah. They were like Oprah and the propaganda along with Tom Hanks. They're just up to no good in this one. There are so many random twists and turns in this episode. And then I think the last promotion that we got to see on here as well was I guess like VOT on Ice, or the 7 on Ice. Yeah, it was like a Christmas special version as well. There's no shortage of income when it comes to VOT at this point. I mean, we can see exactly how it's operating around the clock. So this episode kind of picks up with the boys basically trying to steal documents from the senator, because Senator Newman, they're still trying to frame her or really just get some dirt on her to be able to expose her as being a Supe at this point. And we see that they run into some trouble because they've obviously hired some inside men who are a part of the detail for Senator Newman. And as any mission that comes with the boys, we always know that something's gonna go wrong. Guaranteed. It never goes according to plan. when you saw the superpower of what Senator Newman's daughters had, were you surprised? Like I didn't think it was gonna be that. I thought it was gonna be something a little bit cooler though.
Well, yeah, I mean, I didn't think if not, yeah, it wasn't gonna be that, but also because like, we know that she injected her with that, in the last season when everything was off the table in terms of what it could possibly be, just for gore factor or for actually, but because of Gen V, that Marie, I think that's her name.
Yeah.
Has the blood powers, has the exact same ability as Newman. Is like it kind of be more of a derivative, like why her daughter will have the same ability if they already have that character trying to be linked with her. So yeah, I think just for shock value and for that. And yeah, I think now in terms of where they can go with that with her daughter, I have no idea, at least just from what we saw. But again, I just know that for that scene, opening scene there, definitely it adds another chaos to the thing, of inject or having Vought in terms of that being spread in terms of soups and everything like that. It's now growing, even in all factors, not just in front of the camera, but also behind the scenes too, and stuff like that. So yeah, soups are now becoming a more of a statement and more grander, and now children are now being involved when we also add in Homelander's son as well as they go into that this coming episodes.
Yeah, we definitely see a lot of Ryan in this episode for sure. I think that the daughter, we only see her in this first episode, but we really don't see much of her after this. But it is funny that not funny, but it is very interesting that you say, she has powers actually closest to her mom, because I actually forgot that her mom had powers that are exactly the same as Marie from
Gen V.
Right? Yeah, from Gen V. I lost track of words for a second. But yeah, same powers as her. But then her daughter has powers which looks like she's a blood-sucking leech. Am I correct? Right? And I was like, okay, where her mom controls blood, and then the daughter's powers become blood-sucking leech powers. That's very ironic to say the least. But actually would make sense though. I would think she would get the same powers, but that's just not how it works in this world. But yeah, the senator basically wants to make a truce with Hughie, even though Hughie's basically trying to ruin her life at this point. And they just end up not really getting on the same page. But we see that a lot of people want to use the senator's powers or the secrecy of her powers to their leverage, though, in this season right now. And in saying that, I mean, there's a lot of people that want to still take down Homelander. Of course, Butcher is the main person, right? Homelander's been the main priority for season 3 to basically eliminate. But now that he has Ryan really on his side, it makes it even harder for Butcher to try to get close to him. Do you think, or after seeing the first episode and not knowing what you know in the second episode, did you think that the relationship dynamic between Homelander and Ryan would change, or did you think it was going to stay the same through the season?
No, I think it was just going. It's not a matter of if; it's a matter of when the relationship's going to change. Because it just with Homelander again, that's the thing that sense of having power control. But again, it's always not going to go to his favor, and then hence consequences happen. With this is like, where the final shot of season 3 was with Ryan, him smiling, him getting all this recognition after his dad actually killed or unalived the Starlight protester and everything. But that just gave him a sense of power, recognition, and that's why I think he was smiling. But and as you see, this is not the fact of he likes to hurt people or anything like that. He just like the fact that, I'm not afraid anymore. I'm being praised and recognized. And it's like, okay, I might get used to this, but being the spotlight. So yeah. And then from being into a point of always being isolated, throughout his entire life prior to the passing of his mother. This is, I think that now him being in front and center, Homelander's son, that's going to definitely lead to a lot of issues moving forward and stuff. But again, in the position that Ryan was in with Butcher, it makes perfect sense, with that seeing him in the kitchen, like, hey, I'm done with you, like, it's like it made absolutely sense on his part, because again, he's like, he is a victim, of talking about Ryan, of being in this abusive relationship on both parties, so it's like, he just being there And so the decision that he's making in terms of not being very open to Butcher when he arrived to see him and stuff like that, it's like no, I already been down this road before. No,
right.
so
Yeah, it's and it's tough because like we said before when we first started this review, there is a lot to unpack in just the first episode, to be honest with you. I mean, there's so many moving parts from scene to scene. I mean, we get to see the scene with the senator, and then we see immediately Ryan and the dynamics with Homelander, and then we jump in, and then Hughie's dad is in a coma. Like, I'm like, what is going on? I'm like, all right, can we slow down, everybody? Because there's so much going on. I mean, the episodes are about an hour long, which, I mean, it seems short, to be honest with you, for all the things that are unpacked in each episode. So to just give you kind of not a brief, but a summarized rundown, we get to see Hughie's dad, who's basically in a coma currently right now. I'm not sure if he had a stroke or I think he had some type of illness prior to this, though.
I believe he had he was. I think he was sick. I think in season 1, if I remember. I think something that had like maybe Hughie had to do something with pills for him or something. I can't remember, but like that was this. I believe he had a stroke. In this episode, but I think again, even in these how the world situations, with people with characters, superpowers, again, we deal with reality where people like life still happens. People get sick, people pass away, and family situations happen in the midst of all that, which causes issues in the relationship and operating, the very stressful situation what they're in, which is between the boys and with Vought and Homelander. So it's like, I felt this was a good way to bring Simon Pegg back, but also again exploring another side of Hughie later, which we'll get into later. But something that definitely been building up from the previous 3 seasons.
Yeah, definitely. And then of course we get to also see that Homelander's kind of fed up, right? Everybody's been very, very yes men to him this whole entire time from season 3 because everybody fears him, right? I mean, we saw what happened to Black Noir last. First off, who is that guy? Who is this other guy? Right?
I don't know.
Who is this dude? Because I'm like, nobody. I didn't get a an explanation. But Black Noir, last time we saw him in season 3, he got impaled, right, by Homelander's fist, and from what I thought, he was dead. Now we have a new Black Noir who's very talkative. Right, this dude
very talkative,
do more, and come to find out he's got narcolepsy as well, which can't be good to be a superhero. To be honest with you, falling asleep during a fight, that can't be good. But all of a sudden, there's this new talkative guy that has no name, but Black Noir again, and he's just the replacement. But I feel like I know the actor's voice though. Like I feel like it's gonna be somebody like really funny that we're like, what are you doing on this show? Did you get that feeling when you heard him talking?
Yes, because I think I know for a fact the actor that plays Black Noir, he's still part of the season.
Right, with the body build, right? Yeah,
turn the body physical, and they probably have someone voiceover and everything. But whenever they do that, that again, you got Will Ferrell. I don't know who else they can get.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think again with that particular character again. I hope it's not a joke and probably just a seed to build into later, because Black Noir's character is very significant in the comics in terms of the conclusion of the boys. But again, off rip, this is complete deviation from the source material and everything like that. Because now you have the addition of Ryan and stuff, so now that changes everything and stuff. And then obviously with Black Noir, what happened to him last season. So everything is off the table. I have no clue who he is though, but I'm excited to see though. I have no idea what's going on right now. I'm like, what in the world? And then of course we get to see now, I mean, we kind of go down the list of what's going on with the individuals that are actually on the boys team. So you see Mother's Milk is trying to kind of get closer to his daughter, but also at the same time he kind of wants to get back with his ex-wife, because he like lit a candle in the room and everything. She came over and I'm like, you don't light no candle unless you want it to smell nice in there, which is strange. So he made like a little joke and he was like, I know he not rocking in the bedroom like me. And I was like, you don't want to know that information. And then they made a comment in the show that was like, come to find out that dude is like
giving Pete Davidson vibes or something like that, I think, which I thought was funny. I was like, oh man, I know what that means, but like I don't really want to know what it means at the same time.
Right.
And then come to find out, we go down the list, and then Frenchie is actually in, or not really in a relationship, but he's kind of
a situationship.
He's in a situationship with Miko as well as with Colin. Where did Colin come from? I don't remember Colin being here in season 3. Was he here in season 3?
No, he was in, I believe, season 2.
Okay, all right. It was previously in there, right?
Yeah, it was season. No, yeah, it was season 2. Yeah, season 2 because that was with Lamplighter.
Right.
So there was a whole situation where he was in a relationship with that other girl who does come back and stuff, but yeah, and they were basically all junkies with each other. He overdosed. He was the friend that overdosed, where he went back to go save his friend. But because he went back to save his friend, he wasn't able to stop Lamplighter from killing or burning the children of the boys, CIA operative lady. Yeah. So she, because her grandchildren basically were burned by Lamplighter, but that's because Frenchie wasn't there to stop him because his friend overdosed. So yeah.
Wild.
Yes. Yeah.
And come to find out, I guess Colin right now is currently part of the Starlight campaign, I guess.
Committee.
He's like one of the campaign managers or part of, her promo group, because the lines are basically divided in the world of VOT or in this universe. And it's basically either on Homelander side or either on Starlight side. And Homelander, like I said previously, he is kind of fed up with the individuals that are in the 7 that just keep telling him yes. So he's like, you know what? I need to find some more people that are actually going to have opinions and it kind of help me out. But we saw like a little scene in there where he was like saving his hairs. I guess his hair's falling out, right? He's aging, right? He's aging. And from what people thought, he couldn't age. And come to find out, he's been hiding these like hairs so that, I guess, I don't know.
White hairs.
I don't know. Were they white hairs or were they just like hairs? They're white hairs.
White
okay.
Hairs.
And his little trinket cabinet that he's got where he like hides all his one Nazi photo as well as the hairs and everything that he holds dear to himself, which is very shrining, very creepy at the same time. But very Homelanderish at the same time as well. So yeah, Frenchie basically gives in, sleeps with Colin. Miko decides, you know what, I'm okay with it. When deep down we know Miko has tons of different issues that she's going through as well, and she's not really okay with it at all. She's stressing, and like I said, Homelander basically finds that these individuals that are actually going to help him, I think he originally went to Sister Sage, right? He went to Sister Sage because she's the smartest person in the world, supposedly, and that is her superpower. So I think he's trying to figure out a way either to not age anymore or to figure out a way to take over and I guess be the hierarchy of the government right now, because he knows that the government is trying to overthrow him.
Well, the big thing with Homelander is definitely him collecting his hair is just a sign of him of crumbling, his ego crumbling, because of the fact that he thinks he is perfection, that he is God, right? But at the same time, as someone who has all the power, is that once happens when you're never challenged and there's no new milestone or mountain to climb, you get bored, right? And with that, he just, even then when he's admitting, projecting his power, telling, the Deep and A-Train to have oral sex, and even though they don't do it, but the fact that they move to do it is just the power that he has. But the fact is that he wasn't really trying to do. He was just trying to do something just to get him more riled up. It's like, okay, it's not even funny anymore. I'm bored, right? And and this is where we talk about themes that are going on here. The new character that we get is Sister Sage, who's her power is that she's the smartest person in the world, right? And she can read Homelander just like, just like another page in the book, right? And the fact that challenge to him is what he needs to actually be better, because he's saying, I don't want, I'm the head of the corporation of VOT, like, I got rid of Edgar, and all that stuff, and and but I'm not feeling anything. I'm getting sick. I'm getting frustrated and stuff. He's like,
Right.
well, this is how you play society able to favor you than you trying to lose who you are, your image, and everything like that. And you know, they give that analogy of Caesar, you know, in terms of, you know, being that conqueror, being that figurehead people worship and stuff like that, which is what Homelander wants, but he also knows he needs assistance to get there, which is something that never even happens before with Homelander. Not one being in civilian clothes. That was,
That was
you know,
strange. So
right?
strange.
But to have be in a position like, hey, I need help, and like he's going outside of his character. And as he's doing this, Butcher is going through the same thing too, where these people, they're all like, oh, I'm gonna do it on my own and everything like that. They're now put in situations where they're life-threatening situations on Butcher's end because of his illness, but then on his situation where he wants to gain more power, but he's still just stuck, and he knowing that the team that he has here is just crumbling, and he's like, no, I can't, you know, I need something new. So therefore, they're in position to need to get help from another a secondary character. But Sister Sage, what I believe that she's addition to the show. Like, I think her game is an end game, and I hope she stays in until season 5.
Yeah,
but that's, I think, again, I think that's a, like, currently that's going on in the world today. I think the best part of it was the dialogue between her and Homelander in her department. And I felt that was probably one of maybe top 3 best Homelander scenes, aside from, like, you know, him, like, in terms of fighting and everything, because that dialogue, there was a lot of gems that were dropped there, talking about how you control society and how you can influence it and stuff to do your bidding, and also be the person to come in and save it from itself, right? And you know, and instead of just, you know, doing the easy way of like, well, I can kill, you know, I can like unalive someone anyone I want. Like, no, don't do that. Think smarter. And that's why Sister Sage is there. And I really like her character. Like, that's like every time she's on screen, like, okay, what else she's gonna say? She's dropping bars, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, I think she's gonna be, or like you said, I hope to see her last, maybe till the end, to be honest with you, because she's just such, I'm not gonna say she's lackluster, but she's very, very just like stagnant and chill. Even the way she commands and even says things just seems like, I'm the smartest person in the room, and you should listen to me. You know, just because of that. No other reason if you don't even know me, but you should just listen to me because I'm giving you the best information here. So yeah, that actress does absolutely amazing in this one, for sure. But then we kind of cut back and we get to see that Hughie's mom is back. I didn't know Hughie had a mom, to be honest with you. I mean, we knew he had a mom, but
very briefly in season 1, where like he was growing up and then she was just gone, you know, because she left them. But then she came back. But which, again, talking about family relationships, again, these interpersonal relationships is what, you know, because he's not the only one that has family problems right now, and or has unforgiveness, and you know, which I think that's another theme. Again, they address well their characters, just like family members for what they are. Again, there's no such thing as a good person on this show. And you know, and I think that's one of the beauties of the show and why they've been going on so long, is the fact that like these characters are flawed, and even though in the world of the boys that do very outrageous things and stuff like that, but at the same time, if we just take in the context of who we are as people, like we have all done things, whatever, where someone could probably think of us and probably not have a little bit of unforgiveness on us, or we probably have unforgiveness towards someone else. And how do we process that? How do you process a parent abandoning you now they come back into your lives? How come a situation where went left and now a family member views you differently, and you just try and say, you know, want to be better, but they still keep that image of you. But then at the same time, both these some of the other characters both are having family problems in their own lives, but yet they still have a grudge with each other. But they're like, oh wait, maybe, I mean, I'm even though you're you know, a bad person, I understand what you're going through. That's you know, especially like with Hughie and A-Train, you know, like that's like the big thing. That's how this whole show started, between A-Train and Hughie. And I just think, like, again, the writing of how they're, I think, strategically are placing these family relationships, which we've seen that previously with Annie and her mom,
Mhm.
Starlight and her mom in previous seasons and stuff like that. Butcher and his father. So yeah, there's still things that they're now setting scenes with other characters, which we're trying to explore more, which I appreciate what they're doing with these 3 episodes.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they're definitely, like I said. I mean, this season, I thought this season was the end, so I'm thinking like, all right, full circle. We see, A Train coming back around, and like you said, it's all started with A Train and Hughie, right? That's how this whole mess came about at this point. I mean, not looking both ways, crossing the road. That wasn't it at all. Getting ran over by a superhero and exploding. That will definitely do it to you. But and then I think our final scene that we get to see on here is that Homelander, or we would say that many people are seeing this now. I mean, there's a lot of post-traumatic stress that we're seeing in this show as well. We're seeing that Homelander now, I mean, not Homelander, I'm sorry, Butcher is actually experiencing some type of, psychological breakdown where he's starting to question his integrity at this point. I mean, he was doing a little bit of it in season 3, but now it's really coming on full force, I think. And, he's starting to see ghosts of, his former wife, who was also Ryan's biological mom. And, it seems like that Homelander and Butcher's main focus right now, that they both see that their time, their time is running short, right? They're both probably living on borrowed time, especially Butcher, because we can tell now that he has actually a huge tumor in his head from what Homelander said. And
Correct.
now I think their main focus is to preserve some type of future for whoever is going to be here after they're both gone. I mean, Homelander, he wants to have somebody take up the mantle for, himself, and almost be like a little copy paste, of Ryan.
I question even if he actually truly wants that. That again, if you
he
see,
probably just wants a sidekick to like boost his morale.
He wants the sidekick, but it's like when he's getting put to the side. That's where it's like you're seeing like few seeds of that in this a few episodes of like, you want to be the father figure, you want to put your son out there, but what if he's getting the attention, right? That's the thing. There was a moment where he was catching where he's like, all right, no, we got stuff like that. But Butcher with this illness, like, I think with the fact that again, more morality comes into question, he turns to like reflect and put yourself in position, like, you know what, hey, I was a bad person to you and stuff like that, and I'm just trying to figure this out, but now I don't have much time left, so I might as well do something. So that's where he's dealing with, that. Now, again, I was happy that the showrunner announced that season 5 will be the last. I'm like, okay, so that literally said when after season 3, it's like, yeah, you got about like 12 months or 24 months or something left to to live. Like, okay, 2 more seasons. All right, season 5. So yeah.
Usually like an actual timeline that you can actually follow now at this point.
Yeah.
That's kind of where the episode 1 kind of cuts off and kind of ends for us, and then we kind of jump right into episode 2, which we referenced a little bit earlier, where we get to see A Train, who is playing an inner city kid, I guess, who's running drugs back and forth with his super speed. I'm like, oh god, here we go, right? I'm like, dang, all right.
With Will Ferrell coming in to save the day save from the hood, like, and then with the Zack Snyder parody director,
right,
and saying, to coming in and just making another trope on black trauma and stereotypes and stuff, but he's at the lowest he's been in his life and stuff, and it's like it's just straight up Hallmark, like of those stories and everything. But you've seen also that A Train put in a position where it's like, he what else he got left to do. He's not the hero, he's not the good guy, but at the same time, it's like he's over progressively now. It's like he has the heart condition, and he has made some bad decisions, whether he's forced to do so or also his own will. But also now it's like he just been in a position where he getting the short end of the stick. And last season you start to see remorse. Now when you bring a situation with brother getting paralyzed and stuff, and now it's like he's able to gain that sense of remorse. But even though he's still doing, bad things, but he's also knowing like I can't keep doing this. And I think I'm calling it. I think there's a cap for him this season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I think it's a cap for him this season, and stuff like that. I don't know how how it's gonna come to an end, but that's definitely this season. Yes, it has to. You have to reach the end of the line.
yeah. I mean, there's definitely something going to happen at this point, and I think I take that back from. We are talking about episode 2, but I missed a huge point that happened in episode 1. I forgot that Homelander actually decided to go out and recruit all the biggest fans that he had, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he decided, we're all going to meet up. We're going to go to a little Homelander spot. We're going to do a little meet and greet. And he decided to introduce himself and tell them, thank you so much for being martyrs of my revolution, your sacrifice. And told the other individuals in the deep, he told the deep as well as
A-Train and Black,
and Black Noir, here's the bats. I need you to beat these guys to death. And they're like, whoa, what? Oh, it's just a test. You want us to say no, to show that we have some type of, strength to resist you. He's like, no, I want you to really beat these guys to death. So they beat the guys to death. And here goes Sister Sage. She's in the middle of this protest because this whole entire time there's actually a court hearing going on for Homelander because he's being convicted of murdering this guy who threw a plastic bottle at his son. He was like, oh, my son was feeling attacked. I was saving his life. You blew the dude's head off. You blew the dude's head off. I'm pretty sure that's not equal at any amount of time.
Right.
So Sister Sage basically starts this fight between Starlight side as well as Homelander side, who's both in this protest. So they end up doing this, and then they plant the bodies at the end of this riot, and then boom, of course, who's going to get blamed? Starlight's people as being these crazy type, murderers.
2 black men.
Right.
Because this is another thing you talk about social commentary, how even on both sides, because I believe this show is fair and as it should be. I mean, I in all seasons, whether they will make fun of or actually because of the comedy is and why it's so funny and hilarious, because parts of it is true on both sides, and I felt like the fact there are people that will take advantage of the social movement and make it seem like, oh, this group did this XYZ, vandalized this property or hurt this person, attacked this person, when someone just literally from another group did it under someone else's name, to make it look like, oh my god, look how this movement is so violent and everything. On both sides this happens, and that's where the misinformation comes in. And also when you talk about the conspiracy of it all, where people would just profit or take advantage of these movements for their own gain or for their own message. It's like, whatever you want to talk about it, whatever side you're on, this is happening. This is absolutely happening. And so when they did that, I was like, oh man, that is so strategic. But I'm like, that is so real, because that happens. Like, when they're vandalizing, like, oh look, these people vandalized. Like, the organization did that. The people did that under there. But it doesn't matter what is reality. It's about what is perceived. What is the image? What is the image that they're projecting out there? And the message is going around. Because again, it's not even about, like Denzel Washington said this. It's like, it's not about right or wrong anymore. Like, integrity has gone out the window. It's about who's first. You get it, sell the message and everything, and go. Anything you train, you get good at. Especially BSing. So that's what. And I felt like Sister Sage, which, again, shout out to her again, is that she's in there as a plant to push out Homelander's plan, but again, to expand the more complex nature of what this show is doing. And I'm really excited what they're gonna do for the rest of the season. But
yeah. I couldn't agree with you more. Honestly, she just literally, without doing much, she's doing such a great job at the same time, right? It's like, everything she's doing is to improve or to help Homelander, But it's like, man, I wonder if do you think possibly she might have an alternative motive as well, though? By any chance?
Absolutely.
Yeah. She's too smart. Too smart.
Even I think was either in episode 2 or episode 3. It's just like when she's interacting with what's the assistant's name?
Which one?
For Vought.
Oh, Ashley.
Ashley, because both of them have CEO, and when she was talking to Ashley and also talking to the Deep, it's too like you're also creating plants.
Yeah, that is true.
And within the own organization of it all too, and which is why I wouldn't be surprised down the road it can be like she can be helping Hughie and Butcher and them, and like, oh yeah, I got this, like, what was your whole point? Just to destroy this, bring them up so you can watch the whole thing crumble? It's like, no, this is how society's supposed to be. It's gonna be gonna self-destruct itself. I was just playing the game that you guys created. That's it. So I just put I think that's what's gonna happen. I've seen this, even though I've seen that type of story trope before, but like a character that is that intellectual is also having their own motive, is like even taking a picture of Homelander and going to the other character, what's in the Truth Bomber, and stuff like that. And he's like, why are you taking a selfie? He didn't know that, but she had attention, like, hey, I know you like Homelander, here, I took a picture of him. Now let me do this for me. It's the same thing.
Yeah,
power play.
That is crazy, because like, how did she know she was gonna have to use that photo in hindsight to bring in Firecracker? Like, I mean, she's not playing checkers, she's playing chess, right? She's obviously 7 steps ahead of everyone else. So there's got to be some other, I would say motive, but also she's got to be, trying to play the long game, so to predict her own survival in this. Because when she talks to Homelander, she has no fear at all.
Absolutely none.
I haven't seen one superpower from her. I haven't seen her punch a wall, pluck anything.
Her superpower, her superpower is her mind. That she's the smartest person, but also the ways that she's conveying her intellect is not in a way of, I'm the, let me overexert myself and be like that. I don't have to yell. I don't have to, be angry, be a lot, or emote a lot or anything. I just know what I'm supposed to do, and I'm gonna tell you everything I know and stuff, or not tell you everything I know. I just because I know everything, and so then that's for me to know and for you to find out. And literally, even how the rest of the 7 is reacting to the fact of like, wait, you're listening to her? They like, who listen? Wait, whoever like Homelander, Homelander listens to nobody. What are you talking about, right? Because because you gave her that power, it's like it just now is another way play on him. Even though he still some moments he still does what he wants to do and stuff, but again, it's just the position that Homelander is now is different than what he has been in since the show so far. Is that again, he needs help. He needs somebody to to create the plan that he envisions and stuff that he wants. And even then, when it came with that 3 protesters, or that he deleted, he wouldn't have created that move. Like, he wasn't smart enough to make that plan and everything. And because he would just pop them off what he did with the protester. But again, even Sister Sage, like, you can kill anybody you want, doesn't change anything. No, you gotta get them riled up. So those things I felt with her character is that in terms of how people are going to be responding to her, even A-Train, them being former teammates, and stuff like that, and the image of the black woman in the 7, that's like, come on,
it's and I feel like, I mean, episode 1 definitely kicked off things, but episode 2 definitely connected the dots for us going into episode 3 as well. But we get to see that, there is a YouTuber out there by the name of Firecracker who is basically a conspirator, and she is trying to slander and basically kill the reputation of Starlight and all the things that she basically is into right now. So they basically decide, we're going to go to this rally that Firecracker is supposed to be a part of, and I think she's speaking at. But they understand that Sister Sage is supposed to be there as well, because she's trying to have some type of connection with Firecracker to either recruit her or really, I guess, gather the conspirators that are against Starlight, and I guess put some of that hate into the I want to say background, but also the group that represents Homelander, right? They really want them to be kind of like almost radicals at this point, to really like push the envelope of, you know what, we need to like expunge the world of the Starlight people, or everyone that, you know, supports Starlight is bad, you know, just to put that name out there. So they go to this rally, and they end up in this, I would say, an entanglement with Frenchie, Miko, and a guy named Splitter. Splitter is basically, he's like a lab dog for Firecracker, right? And we walk in on Splitter, and I really don't want to talk about it, but Splitter's a wild boy. He goes human centipede on himself. I've never seen anything like this. I was like, whoa.
See, if you think about Invincible, we had a duplicate,
right?
And you know, so but like literally, like, man, okay, if I'm duplicating myself, like my clothes are not getting duplicated.
Huh?
You know, like that's why, like, even with Hughie, when he got teleportation, you know, in season 3, it's like,
right.
I will teleport, but my clothes can't teleport with me. Like, what?
Right. I was like, huh, that's insane. So a brawl basically starts, right? There's just like this huge fight, and they basically are fighting different duplicates. So you have Mother's Milk, you got Miko, you also got Frenchie, and they're basically trying to take down Splitter and Firecracker in this sense. And they end up walking into this like little girl's, I think it was her birthday or her like bar mitzvah, right? It was like sponsored by, it was like the theme was like Miss Marvel or Miss Marvelous, I think. Like the show that was also on Prime as well, I believe, right?
No, that was on. Was it? It's on Disney Plus, Miss Marvel.
On Disney Plus, okay. So I was like, oh, that's a strange little parody that's going on right now, that she decided to, or this teenage girl decided to have this as her theme. Like that, I don't know. I wouldn't have picked it, but whatever, you know, who to each his own.
Right. Listen, I'm saying all groups are off limits with this show. That's the thing. And I appreciate it. Even when you get to the group that Firecracker is in, it's like, it's a conspiracy, you know, group talking, you know, when they bring in like, oh yeah, the Tom Hanks and Oprah, they're running this whole thing with children. And listen, Tom Hanks was in 351 or some movies.
Yes,
that's the police code for child trafficking.
Like, like, huh? I'm like, wait, where did you get that from? Like,
right?
That is wild.
You know, and I like that. Again, even though everybody can be a conspiracies and stuff like that, it's like, if this is the thing, I know the showrunner, I think some people were afraid that, like, okay, how far they're going to go on the nose of, like, you know, targeting these different groups and culture. But then I'm like, well, you know what? Like, I think it's be a sign of respect that you got acknowledged. Like, it's almost like comedy. Like, hey, listen, if I can't make funny and like, all right, then it's not funny, whatever. But it's like, if we have laughter and that brings us all together, that's one thing. I think that comedy back, especially in the 80s and 90s, where everybody was off limits. We could talk about, you know, it was race, whatever, anything like that. Nobody got offended. And then people would make a joke about race and whatever, it'd be like, oh, well, I mean, if you can make fun of me, we're cool. If you feel like you can't make fun of me, then it's like, well, you know, nothing's ain't funny anymore. And I think that's like parts of the truth about it, is that it is real, that it is some truth that's happening with these groups and stuff like that. So, and the fact that everybody in every corner, the corporations, the culture, the movements, the agendas, all that stuff, they make fun of it, but they do it in a nice way where it's not like it's just beating you over the head. It's just like, it's the world of the boys. So I appreciate it.
Yeah. And we get to also see after we see that crazy scene with A-Train and his kind of racist bioptic movie that he was doing, we see that he's actually sneaking around trying to hang out with his nephews.
Crazy.
It's crazy that he has to sneak around and hang out with his nephews. That sounds like the wildest thing I've ever heard ever. And this is the show The Boys, which I think is crazy to compare it to. And his brother finds out and, you know, not only reprimands his kids, but kind of tells his brother, you know, he's not a hero at all. Come to find out that all superheroes who have had their first saving moment, it was staged. They've all been staged. They've really never saved anyone.
Well, I think it was the one by Vought that was
like the mainstream one, the one that was like on TV,
yes.
right? The like, oh, this is it, this is his moment, right?
Because like in season 1, that's when Starlight, when she joined and she had, she was, getting villains and stuff like that, or just getting crime in the area that she was in, and then all of a sudden like, oh no, we already got your crime report, we already have someone taking care of to do that, right. You don't have to do that. So there actually are people saving people, but the popular brand stories that get told, right. that's the part where that's all made up. And even then, like with uncle with their his brother talking to his nephews and stuff, he's like, no, tell him the real story, that was that was on the sound stage. But here's the thing though, that also reveals on him part, you participated in that live. It's like, that's the thing,
you were with it,
like, right,
you wasn't there.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like, okay, yeah, you was training, but like you participated in it too. Like,
right,
he
tried to throw his brother under the bus to make him look less of a superhero, right?
Right.
I mean, there's obviously some animosity that the brother still has against him for him being paralyzed at this point, as well as for him killing, I believe, Nighthawk, I think his name was.
Yes.
Because in the sense he was saying, hey, I don't want anything to happen to this guy. And A-Train obviously went AWOL and was like, oh yeah, I'm about to drag this dude through the streets. So, the blood seems to be on the brother's hands at the end of the day. Because cause and effect, that's why he ended up doing it in the first place. But the whole entire situation could have been avoided, let's be honest here. And that was a different time where there was a lot of things going on, police brutality. And then it kind of showcased on the show as well. So it got kind of super crazy. But to speak about, staging or faking someone's first moment, we get to see that they're trying to plan out Ryan's first, I guess you say, coming out party, right? That's what it seems like a coming out party for him to, be the newest guy, the newest seats in the 7. And he decides to name him as Homeboy. Come on. Come on. I was like, for real? Like, I don't know.
He had the kneecaps, like,
his shins out, everything. I was like,
I actually want to see that suit though. I'm like, hey,
the suit looked good. The suit looked pretty good though, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Like, this came like some type of Bucky, Captain America.
If he would have had like a little mask, I'd be like, okay, that's like Robin to Batman, or like,
right.
The 1.5 version of the suit or something, like the edited version. So that happens, and they try to figure out, okay, we're gonna role play and figure it out, and it's supposed to go all according to plan. And Ryan, he loses control because Homelander was really trying to like get in him, about like, he kind of upstaged him. And I think that's a moment that you're talking about, because this was Ryan's moment. He was supposed to be the man in front. Even the whole 7 was there to kind of support the whole situation, because it was a bank robbery stage that they had. And Homelander kind of swoops in. He's like, I'm here. Go ahead, son. You can do it. And we're like, bro, you're not even supposed to be, get out of the scene. You're supposed to be on the side waving, what I'm saying? Like, supporting your son. But he was like, oh, I can do this. And we're like, all right, here we go. Homelander being himself once again. And Ryan kind of loses control. And the stunt man that, he was actually friends with, he hits him just I'm not gonna say a little too hard, because he hit him really hard. Like, I can't even say it was a little bit, because he knocked him like a block down the street, and the dude just explodes on the wall.
Splattered. Yeah.
And it kind of comes into the humanity or humility of Ryan, because Ryan feels remorse. He feels bad that he did this to the guy. And Homelander's response, when talking to your son, you probably shouldn't say this, to be honest with you. I'm not, no expert, but pretty sure you shouldn't tell your son, like, you shouldn't feel any type of way about that. It doesn't matter, And it kind of speaks to, where Ryan was raised, opposed to if he was raised by Homelander from the beginning. Do you feel like the remorse will change in Ryan as we go on in the season? Like, will his outlook on humanity change, or will it stay the same? Very, very much so like a Mark situation from Invincible, I feel like.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's going to change, because he's still core, to who he is. Is like, he has the powers of Homelander, but he's not Homelander. And I think everybody viewed him because who his father is, yes. But at the same time, he's still becoming, he's getting older. He becoming an individual. Was like, no, it's like, I don't want to hurt people. I don't want to, do this and stuff like that. And then, which you're gonna see that definitely gonna butt heads with Homelander, thinking like, what, you have everything. No, I don't. I don't have my mom. She's gone. I don't have, like, I'm not. I guess like, yeah, I have power, resource, fame, whatever, but I'm not happy. I just want a family. I just want, that's, and I think, and I just want to be kind to people because that's what my mother raised me to be. Right. So, which again, Homelander never gotten that. And I'm looking forward to when, how you going to do when he goes back to his roots to lose his humanity. It's like, that's interesting. Like, I think that's probably gonna be diving episode 4, which I'm looking forward to watch. But I think that's very very interesting.
Yeah, because I mean, there's definitely holes in that story that we haven't got to see or haven't been told. So, the finer details I think are really going to matter when we get to see that in episode 4. But just trickling into episode 3, we get to see that the 7 is finally, well, the 7's really what, 6 right now, I think. I don't think, or it's 5. I think it's like 5 of them right now. Because you got the Deep, you got A-Train, you got Homelander, you got
Noir.
Sisters. Oh, Noir. No, yeah, there's 6. Noir, Sister Sage, and Firecracker, who was invited also. So they're,
and then they brought in as Ryan on stage.
They were like, we're gonna save a seat for him or something like that. Like, what are they waiting on? Like, maybe him get a little older. I don't know. Maybe to change his name from Homeboy to something better. Probably, I hope. Right. But yeah, Sister Sage and all of them are in there, and they're kind of being introduced at this like anti-Starlight rally, I would say, because it feels very much like a hate rally, to be honest with you. And Sister Sage is introduced with this new outfit, right? And the color of her outfit is like brown and gold, and I'm like, all right, man, why you couldn't give her any other colors but this? Like, it feels very like they try to make her outfit very Egyptian or something. Did you?
Yeah, it's like the goddess, black goddess stuff. It's giving like Undercover Brother type jump,
Yeah.
Like,
she just needed an afro, and I was like, well, there we go. That's what we were looking for. With a little pick in her hair. Like, I was like, yep, they did a bang up job on this. But it's weird because I was looking at the little like necklace she was wearing. The necklace almost looks like a little like noose, though, to be honest with you. And I was like,
I didn't look back at that.
I looked at it, and it was like it goes straight down. It's like a rope, and it goes just straight down. And I was like,
that's wow. I gotta look at that. I was
like, all right. I mean, maybe that's not what the design was meant to do, but it just looked a little off to me. That's all. So yeah. So now she's in the 7 now. At this point, and now that we see that they're finally introduced into the 7, I mean, Sister Sage is starting to implement all of her ideas. Ashley is now getting fired because there is no reason to have Ashley in the group anymore. She's pissed. She already hated Sister Sage at this point, to be honest with you. But now she has even more of a reason to hate her. I feel like Ashley might flip. Do you feel like Ashley might flip on him as well?
I think Ashley is going to be there to the very, very end, with the corporation. But again, it's like, it probably either lead to her demise or actually helping, them get out of the situation as a company, because the company still, I believe, it still goes on. But again, it's like, that has to come to the end of her character too, because again, you were the assistant, now you're just a scared CEO, whatever. And now it's like the ego that that she's trickling down. Hell, she might go with the anchor man that she's having a kinky thing with. But
yeah, that's wild. Because we get to see him actually in here, right? We get to see him all handcuffed, BDSM style on the floor, and I'm like, man, that dude he's having a rough day, to be honest with you. But he asked for it, so that's on him. Nothing we could do at this point. But then we get to see people are still kind of harassing the site or of the campaign for Starlight. And I don't really like using the word campaign, but it just kind of seems like, she's trying to showcase herself and maybe create her own VOT or her own little 7 as well. But she has no one on her team except for humans. So I don't know. But she did go out and she kind of announced herself as like, you know what, I'm back. Starlight is back. for a while she was just going as Annie. People were kind of giving her the name of Starlight. Do you think she'll just retake up that mantle? Maybe we'll see like a new suit, or maybe she'll try to recruit other heroes. I mean, we're kind of looking at an A-Train recruit right now. If he lasts this long.
Yeah, well, with Annie, with the Starlight, I mean, again, this with her, she's taking more lead. Like she's saying, she doesn't want to be attached to the Starlight persona because, again, everything that she went through, rightfully so. But again, it's like, but then it also creates that conversation with Hughie saying, like, well, do we want superheroes? Like, you actually believe in superheroes? Like, yeah, no, people should believe in a symbol, which is what we all want in DC and Marvel, in terms of what it represents. But again, and this show is basically just talking about how ridiculous it is. But at the same time, go back to, we all want heroes in our lives, and some people, and even in this world, how crazy it may be, it like still want to be heroes and still want a symbol to look up to. But with that, with Annie, and then now she got her whole thing with her past is coming back to her with Firecracker. Them being pageant girls and stuff, and being just the vendetta of them, of basically really with Annie just being the mean girl that she was raised to be by her mother, that basically created Firecracker and stuff like that. So and again, it talks about the whole thing like, oh, well, I'm not the same person. And when she said people never change, sometimes hurt will actually, I won't say paralyze somebody, but will actually put somebody stagnant in terms of their growth in life, because that's tied to your nearest trauma. Like, for Firecracker, her trauma is when she was 15 and in the pageant. Right. And she's never escaped that. She only let that version of herself fester into now the person she's devoted into spearing all this BS that she knows is BS. And she's saying, I'm just creating purpose because my purpose, whatever, was actually ruined and taken away from away from me by someone who just spread a lie and a rumor about me. And that's how it's some villains, a syndrome situation, with Incredible. So I really think that they did a good job in terms of building her up with terms of having that sense of one-on-one villain. I don't really think that Annie had a villain other than aside from maybe Stormfront, but Stormfront had other, this is a personal villain. So,
it was definitely a personal vendetta that was kind of just directed only to her. Like her only purpose is to take out Starlight and to kind of ruin her reputation. Like she feels, well, not that she feels, that was ruined when she was about 13 years old. Which I thought was crazy because it's like, man, it's been 17 years and you've been holding this grudge against man. You need a hug, you need to pray, you got a lot going on. That's seriously. You gotta really not like somebody to go 17 years of hate for them. That's kind of wild. But here we are. So we see that Colin is obviously still hooked. I mean, Frenchie is obviously still hooked on Colin. He's going through some some type of crisis right now, right? He's just living out of body and mind. Seems like he's back on drugs as well, which is not good for Frenchie because, I mean, obviously he is an addict. But he's just survived so many times. I'm surprised he hasn't OD'd more recently at this point. Excuse me. But we get to kind of pop back in on Butcher, and Butcher is trying to develop this relationship with Ryan where at first he decides, you know what, if I can get the kid to be close to me, maybe I can kind of sad to say, he wants to drug his son, or not his son. He wants to drug his wife's son, his ex-wife's son, or his widowed wife's son. And wants to, I guess his thought is maybe we can use him against Homelander. I thought maybe he wanted to just kidnap him and use him as leverage, or he either wanted to kidnap him and brainwash him. That's what I felt like he was going to try to do. I'm not sure if you got the same sentiment because he really didn't say what he wanted to do to him after he got this huge bag of fentanyl. I mean, fentanyl is added back in here. That's the new thing, people
are just puff you out.
I'm like, dang,
just a puff you out. But I think with because again, I think that scene built it up in terms of like, okay, what was that powder? And then he didn't,
Right.
he didn't feed it to him, and then all of a sudden it was Jeffrey Morgan was like, oh yeah, that was fentanyl. Like, you know how much it costs? I was like, wait, and then
like, oh my god,
again, the CIA, which for some people might be other words called cocaine import agency. But that's what some people will call it. But
right.
the other terms of how they get that those drugs and stuff. But again, it goes back to even that he was lying to Ryan, saying like, listen, I felt really bad hurting him, but it's saying like, hey, either we kill him or we have to change him, which I think that's the second route, is that we're gonna have that he's gonna step against Homelander at the end. But hopefully he gets another growth spurt or something. I don't know. But he just needs one more growth spurt. Just one more
level up, and he might be good to go. I'm telling you right now. Get that guy Sensu Bean. Because I don't know. I don't know. I mean, because I right now at this point, Ryan is still coming to his own. There's no way if he tried to take on Homelander, he might not scratch him. He might not even get a nick off. Like, it's gonna be bad. Ryan is gonna be non-existent at this point. So they need to kind of like figure that out and devise probably a better plan at this point. But to come to find out, just to go off the deep, right? The character, not off the deep end, but the deep. He's been hiding. What's her name? Ambrosia, I think.
Yes, Ambrosia.
His octopus girlfriend in his closet since episode 1, right? Or since season 3, he's been hiding her in there, and she's like, that's the love of his life right now. And I'm not. I mean, I'm understanding because he is an aquatic person, but like for him to be in a relationship with psychically, obviously, that's how she's talking to him. It is still a little confusing for me. Do you think? I think Ambrosia's gonna bite the dust though this season.
Oh yeah.
What do you think? She's toast. Once Homelander finds out, I'm pretty sure.
Well, not only that, he's not even taking care of her because the tank.
The tank, right? Yeah, the tank got dirty.
Yeah, and then but also even the whole thing with Sister Sage and whatever she's doing with Deep. But I need to go back. I need to see what was that little stick and stuff.
Yeah, there was like.
That was bloody. It was bloody.
Yeah, where that was kind of confusing because there's this weird scene where we get to see the Deep kind of go, and he kind of like he goes to kind of get into an altercation with Sister Sage, like, yo, what are you doing? Why are you acting like this? You're not the boss. And then he kind of switches his mood and he's like, you are pretty cool. You know what? I kind of like you. And then they have like, I guess, relations. I'm guessing that's what's happening next. I mean, we don't see any, nudity. Of course,
but the position that she was in is like, okay, I know you eating watching a show.
Yeah.
But also, like,
you don't watch Transformers? Like, huh?
Right, Transformers 2. And I'm like, why Transformers 2?
Why was Transformers 2 racist? Why was that the racist one? I'm trying to figure. I got to go back and watch it now.
It is. I'm not gonna lie. It is cultured. I'll say.
Maybe.
But, yeah,
the hip hop cars.
Right, the hip hop twins.
The twins. Okay, now I know why.
Like, yeah, and okay. But with that, it's like that's the first. Because listen, the only thing I can say is because Homelander says this is like, well, you can either stay here with your Taco Bell and loneliness. It's like, I was like, okay, but then food. Like that's the only last thing we see of her. Until her eating, just being like, hey, what's the con of being the smartest person in the room? Like, well, you can't relate to nobody, I guess,
right.
But like aside from that, like there's nothing else I can think of other than maybe like I don't know. I don't know because like that's just like, okay, out of the one time you letting your guard down just to mess with the Deep, and out of all people, the Deep, whatever, right? And but then the camera panned to that, like, I'm like, what was in that? What was it? Fried onions or whatever?
What's that? Like no, so they were eating a blooming onion from Outback, right? And that's how the conversation started because he saw the blooming onion, was like, oh, is that a blooming onion? And she was like, yeah. She was like, you want some? He's like, yeah, I do. And then I don't know how that. It just happened so fast. I feel like the 1 second he was there to like yell at her, the next second they're getting it in, and I'm like, all right, I don't know I don't know anything about human interaction at this point. I'm completely lost, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm thinking that I think it was a syringe is what I'm guessing, right? I'm pretty sure it was V is what she had in there.
Mm-hmm.
Unless it's some other synthetic drug. I don't know. I don't know. I'm pretty sure we're gonna find out something maybe episode 4 to find out maybe all right, she got like maybe she has an addiction that makes her smarter. I don't know. Maybe the V is like hyphenating her senses so that like she can sense everything that's going to be coming or what's going to happen next. But as we get a little bit further in this episode, like you said, Butcher has a heartfelt moment with Ryan in trying to kind of figure out, you know what, I'm not going to drug him. I'm going to try to reach his more human side of his personality to really, you know, tap in to make him understand that, you know, Homelander doesn't want the best for him. And finally, when Ryan, after seeing Butcher, decides to go back home, which is at the Vought headquarters, where he lives in the same apartment building or the same apartment as Homelander, Homelander kind of confronts him and gets pissed because he says, first off, Ryan's a bad liar, right? He's a kid. He's trash at lying. He says, where have you been? He says, oh, I went to Coney Island to get us hot dogs. Pfft, what? Is that what you're gonna use? Come on, man. Like that's ridiculous at this point. So I immediately thought like, okay, Ryan's busted right now. Like this is not good. And essentially Homelander kind of splits and kind of flips out on him. Did you think at that point maybe Ryan was probably going to run off, or did you think, because he kind of stormed off into the room, did you think he's going to take off, or did you think, you know, it was the confrontation was going to escalate further than that?
No, I think it was just going to be a situation. He getting older, he getting adolescence, and like he just went off to his room. But then also you're being a single dad, like you're going to have to, like, you know, how is Homelander going to discipline his son? Like, out of all, you know, you're right, but how, like, you know, and then but then he all keep going back, you know, what you don't like me, you think I'm a bad father, you think I'm this, whatever, and then it goes back to when he had the outburst that his split personalities or whatever, going to, you know, saying, hey, go back to your roots, you know, you need to lose your humanity. And once he loses humanity, that's when it's over. You know, that's where it's like, you know, we keep saying, oh, this is the part where Homelander is gonna break, right? This is gonna no. This, when you go back to your humanity and you lose it, that's where we get to the conclusion of The Boys, which I think that's where the ending of this season gonna end off. Is like, nope, I'm done. Yes, like, you know, off of humanity. I am God. Yes,
right. Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, I think we're definitely going to see Homelander and I guess you could call it God mode, because he's just going to go off. I mean, like you said, I mean, he seems to be suffering multiple personality disorder now. When he was staring in that mirror and kind of talking to the 5 different versions of Homelander that I guess reside in the back of his mind that he probably didn't know they were there. Or three. Okay.
Yeah, because there was one that was telling him like, hey, you know, you need love. You're all alone and everything. And then and then the other one's like, no, you just you're whining baby, whatever. But then the one on top was the calculated one, like, guys, stop. We just need to go back to his humanity and lose it, you know, go back to where it all began. Like that's it. You know, so
we saw these weird little flashbacks of obviously the place where Homelander was not only created but I guess trained to figure out, you know, what his power was and how much he can really withstand. I mean, he's a test tube baby, so that guy he's all jacked up. He doesn't know where he belongs at this point, as we've known for the past 3 seasons. But yeah, okay, so we do see Sage and the Deep kind of hook up, and that's kind of weird in its own. Homelander kind of loses it, and I believe that's where we kind of stop in this episode. That's like the main point towards the end of this episode. I mean, there is different points where we get to see Miko in here, and she's trying to really figure out her past as well. But that seems like the narrative for this season right now. Either the past is catching up to you, or trying to piece together your past to figure out how you're going to be able to be whole at the end of the season. Because there's a lot of people that are cracking up right now. I mean, from Frenchie, A-Train, Butcher obviously is, living on borrowed time. Homelander's losing his hair and's got a son that won't listen to him. So I wait for a son to be like, "You're not my dad," and like run out, and I'd be like, "Oh man, that's pretty typical right there." But just based on these 3 episodes, what did you think? I mean, why, like, are you happy with the direction that they're taking right now in this season?
Yeah, listen, I'm ready for the next episode. No, I'm ready for the next episode to get through this. Again, I've said this with Invincible. I mean, this was a period for comic book shows where or comic property where it's like it's just been consistently good. Whether like you have good moments, low moments, but never felt like this was a bad show. Like it always continuously grew. And kept this momentum. But I'm glad the showrunner said, "Hey, 5, it's done." So way that you have an ending for this, where to cap this off, and yet you're able to build this anticipation instead of it being dragged on for 8 seasons, Game of Thrones, and then we left with a very rushed finale. It's like now I think this is this season. Why even I saw some critics were like, yeah, there's some threads are kind of left keep getting dragged on, which I'm like, I think this was actually expected because we have this is the filler before we get into the connecting piece before we get into the finale, because we had Gen V to get to this point, and then we had this season to actually get to the finale of season 5 of The Boys and stuff. And we all know Gen V's getting a season 2, but I know the actor, he passed away, but that got delayed. But yeah, so
yeah, definitely a fun 3 episodes. I don't think I've watched any Boys episode and not been surprised by the gore for some reason. Every time I'm just like, oh my god, like always something. I don't watch horror movies for a reason, and every time I watch this, I'm like, that guy's dead. I don't know why I'm so surprised every single time, but it always keeps you on my toes because you never know when it's coming. Just like in these 3 episodes. Any final words, Mike, before we get ready to wrap up?
Yeah, I'm ready for more episodes. I want to see how far they go with this, with the story and stuff. But I'm really interested to see when how Sister Sage is gonna get more methodical in terms of her plan. What's her overall plan, and hopefully she stays to the end, going into next season. But again, I'm also intrigued with Homelander. It's like how we get to lose his humanity. I want to see that. I think that's where we left off with this episode. I think that's where we're gonna get starting from season 4. I mean, episode 4.
Episode 4. Yeah. Same. I'm looking for the tables to turn. I'm looking for the Queen, Sister Sage, we're gonna call her that, to overthrow the King Homelander right now. That would be great. But yeah, everybody at home, make sure you check out season 4 of The Boys, premiering Thursday, June 13th, only on Prime. If you guys want to see more content just like this, make sure you like, subscribe, hit that notification button, and go ahead and follow us over at biggoldbeltmedia.com. Until next time, peace.